Oke, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good luck to all of us. Good morning. First of all, I will introduce myself. My name is Nurmalayanti Amar from English Education Study Program, class of 2019. On this occasion, I will present the draft of my thesis. But before that, I would like to extend my greetings to my examiners and supervisor. The Honorables Prof. Dr. Nurdin Noni M. Home, the first examiners. The Honorable Sultan SS MAD PhD as the second examiner. The Honorable Dr. Haji Geminis Titi Sakir SPD MPD as the first supervisor. And the Honorable Fitri Radiani SPD MPD as the second supervisor. Next, I will present a draft of my thesis entitled Students' Perception of PowerPoint Use in Vocabulary. Well, in this presentation of my thesis draft, it is divided into two parts, which will be discussed. There is chapter 4, Finding and Discussion, and chapter 5, Conclusion and Suggestion. Before moving on chapter 4, I will review the background, problem statement, objective of the research, and significance of the research. To shorten the time, I will immediately discuss the background. Okay, the background. A teaching and learning process need to fulfill the requirements of the teaching and learning process itself. They are a method, media, and content material. Those items will keep the teaching and learning run well and success. They are known as the teaching component. They have an essential role in teaching and learning because they support and relate to each other. Media has a function to help the teaching and learning goes well because it is directing students' motivation and making achievement in the classroom. Teaching media should be various and qualified. Generally, there are three kinds of teaching media. They are audio-visual media. As all people around the world know that in language acquisition and learning foreign language, including English language, the first thing to do is new and learn the vocabulary. From the Harvard 2007 state that if language structures make up the skeleton of a language, then it is vocabulary the vital organ and the flesh. Vocabulary knowledge is fundamental to the development of English language proficiency. It is obvious that learning a new language in a traditional way is not so enjoyable for today technology-dependent students. For this, for environment of the classroom has been changed. PowerPoint is one of technologies that make learning more fun by placing control over learning in the hands of students. From 9 Priorities and Herrick Close 2018, you heard that PowerPoint has been widely adopted as an effective presentational tool delivering course content and facilitating students' learning, and particularly in language teaching and learning. Okay. Next is problem statement. Based on description before, the researcher formulates one problem statement in his research, that is, what is students' perception of using PowerPoint in vocabulary mastery. And objective of the research, based on the research problem before, the research objective of this research is to know students' perception of using PowerPoint in vocabulary mastery. And the next is significance of the research. There are some significance of this research. They are, the first one is teacher. Through the implementation of this classroom action research, teacher learn instructional technique in teaching of vocabulary that vary through the usage of PowerPoint. The problems that will be found during the process of learning English vocabulary could be overcome. And the second one is students. The result of this research will be very useful for students to improve their vocabulary without realizing it, because they are able to learn with fun and easy to understand objects who study by using PowerPoint. Okay, next I will discuss chapter 4 and 5. Chapter 4, findings and discussion. This chapter deals with the findings of the research and discussion of the findings, which the findings were obtained through interview that used to answer the research question of this research. Okay, part A is finding. The first is the research process. The first interview was conducted with the subject of 5 class on Monday, 31 October 2022 at 11:40 noon in the OSIS room that has been observed before. And the next interview, it was conducted on 1 November 2022 on Tuesday at 15 o'clock afternoon at the same place that is in OSIS room that has been observed before. Next is subject overviews. The subject of this study were the students of Ningrad that consists of 10 class. They are FDH from class 9-1, ACH from 9-2, AQCPUA from class 9-3, AFB from class 9-4, MDNAA from class 9-5, MHT from class 9-6, SAM from class 9-7, AF from class 9-8, K from class 9-9, and EM from class 9-10. There were 10 students who had been chosen as the participant of this research. Each class was represented by one person. The subjects or the participant of this research were from junior high school 17 Makassar, or SMP Negeri 17 Makassar. With this, the researcher chose the subject as the research target to solve the problem in this research. Next is interview. Based on the data obtained from interview, the researcher found that all students are completely support the use of PowerPoint, especially in teaching vocabulary. It was covered that all students who became participants of this research agree of the use of PowerPoint. They perceive PowerPoint as a positive way to learn vocabulary. They also believe that PowerPoint could enhance their intention in learning vocabulary, and that its lively and comprehensive illustrations such as pictures, videos, and animation got them involved. Yet there are several students believe that the use of PowerPoint increases the gap between students and teachers. Okay, analysis from the interview data indicates that all of 10 interviewed students as the participant of this research share the same view that PowerPoint was useful in vocabulary lesson. Its usefulness involves engaging learners' attention, creating active and comfortable learning environment, assisting learners in understanding and remembering effectively, and increasing learners' practicing time. Okay, the first, engaging learners' attention. All of the students revealed the PowerPoint could engage their attention and help them concentrate on learning vocabulary through interesting images, videos, and sounds. This view is illustrated in the following comments from students. The initial MDNAA and FDH. Extract 1 from MDNH. karena materinya itu lebih terlihat menarik yang membuat siswa sekali lagi termasuk saya itu bisa lebih fokus Kak. In English, because of the material all looking interesting that makes students including me to be focused. Extract 1 MDNA, materinya itu biasa dapat ditampilkan dengan gambar-gambar yang bervariatif seperti gambar kartun atau gambar-gambar yang indah, serta juga kadang diberikan secara animasi. In English, the material is usually displayed with various of pictures such as cartoon or other beautiful pictures, and also there is animation teachers put in PowerPoint. And extract 2 from the initial MDNA, karena materinya itu lebih menarik, yang membuat terlihat menarik, yang membuat siswa sekali lagi termasuk saya itu lebih fokus Kak. In English, because of the material all looking interesting that makes student including me to be focused. And extract 3 from initial FDH, karena kalau dalam penggunaan PowerPoint lebih memudahkan antara siswa dan guru, selain dalam menyampaikan pelajaran, siswa juga akan lebih fokus untuk memperhatikan karena slide-nya yang bermacam-macam. Karena selain untuk penjelasan materi dalam PowerPoint itu juga menarik beberapa murid untuk aktif di kelas. In English, because in the use of PowerPoint, it will easy between students and teacher in confined lesson. Students also will be focused to pay attention because of the various beautiful slide. Because besides of the explanation of the lesson in PowerPoint, it is also makes students become more active in the class. Okay, based on the extract before, it can be seen that the use of PowerPoint are significantly support the process of teaching learning process, especially in teaching vocabulary. The use of PowerPoint could help them to understand the materials and memorize the material easily. Okay, next is creating active and comfortable learning environment to student. Initial AH and AA agreed the PowerPoint based vocabulary lesson could create active and comfortable learning environment. The interviews express extract 3 from initial AZAH. In my opinion, learning to use PowerPoint is very fun and interesting, so that it makes the students more enthusiastic about learning. And extract 4 from initial AA. Because with the PowerPoint display, it will stimulate students to be more active to read and focus on the material. Okay, based on the extract before, it can be concluded that using PowerPoint in teaching learning process can create active and comfortable learning environment. The students were easy to catch the vocabulary, and also they can learn happily. And next is assisting learners in understanding and remembering effectively. 10 participants, students believe that using PowerPoint vocabulary lessons could aid them in understanding and remembering words quickly and effectively. The example of 2 student views are presented below. Extract 5 from initial AA. Yeah, I think in my opinion, PowerPoint make the lesson more interesting and effective because first, students will be more enthusiastic following the lesson. Second, students don't need to take not too much. And next is extra 6 from initial AFB. In my opinion, using PowerPoint is actually effective because it makes the student interested in the lesson and reading too, because of the templates that PowerPoint use. It also makes the students understand the material. Materinya juga singkat, padat, dan jelas. In English, also the material in concise and clear. Okay, based on the extract before, it so the student will easily remember new vocabulary by using PowerPoint in teaching vocabulary. It is assist them to understand and remember new vocabulary. Okay, and the last is increasing students practicing time. Two participants, initial MHT and SAM, responded that teachers' talking time was decreases and students practicing time was increased in vocabulary classroom using PowerPoint. They state extract 7 from initial MHT bla 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 ya, karena kalau memakai pembelajaran yang lama siswa akan lebih cepat bosan sehingga mereka tidak paham materi yang disampaikan oleh guru, dan adanya PowerPoint ini membuat para siswa lebih memahami materi yang diberikan karena PowerPoint itu terdapat materi yang singkat, padat dan jelas serta menggunakan gambar 3 dimensi, dan juga kita bisa memiliki waktu lebih untuk bertanya dengan menggunakan PowerPoint. In English, yes, because if using the old lesson, students will be bored and they will not pay attention to the material given by the teacher. The access of this PowerPoint makes students understand the lesson very well, because PowerPoint only contains of the very important lesson, so that the material become concise and clear, and also using 3D pictures. We can also have more time to asking our question by using PowerPoint. And extract H from initial SAM. I think PowerPoint can make good communication between students and teacher, because teacher can create a fun learning. We have much to sharing with our teacher, so that we can understand the material clearly. Based on the extract, based on the extract before, it so that student will talking time was decreased and student talking time was decreased, and student practicing time was increased in vocabulary classroom using PowerPoint. Okay, part B discussion. The findings of the research revealed that students perceive the student usefulness of PowerPoint in vocabulary instruction, although there were some challenges for this practice. Analysis from the interview data indicates that PowerPoint was a good ICT tool versus traditional instruction such as Blackboard. This finding is consistent with Alkas and Aldersi 2013. They contend that PowerPoint is useful for attracting and sustaining learning attention. A possible explanation for this claim is that this type of visual instruction was effective in getting learners focused on main point, communicating idea, and having fun. Moreover, these findings reinforce a study by Dang 2009, who confirmed the PowerPoint could make lesson more interesting and heighten learners' interest. Students perceive PowerPoint as useful device to combine text, image, and video, thereby assisting learners in remembering vocabulary quickly. Students' vocabulary retention is increased when teacher deliver this visual tool. Participating students identified that through PowerPoint use, teachers' talking time was reduced, whereas students had more time to practice vocabulary. These findings confirm the literature on how PowerPoint as a multimedia tool can be integrated into classroom learning. Okay, next chapter 5, conclusion and suggestion. In this chapter consists of conclusion and suggestion of the research. In this session, the analysis of the data obtained and the discussion of the result will be reiterated and summarized accordingly. Several suggestions were presented regarding the proposed research and recommended future research related to the research that could be conducted by other researchers. Okay, part A, conclusion. Based on the findings and discussion, it is concluded that students' perception on the use of PowerPoint application in their learning English activities are positive. The findings from this research reveal students' perception of PowerPoint use in vocabulary mastery. Students perceive that PowerPoint use benefit them in several ways through engaging their attention, creating an interactive learning atmosphere, sustaining word retention, and increasing student talking time. And based on the interview, most of the respondents said that the use PowerPoint certainly contribute better in learning their English. This is based on several reasons, such as much students were using PowerPoint when they are presenting the material or learning by using PowerPoint because of the effectiveness of using media device that only use laptop and LCDs yet contains of interesting pictures, videos, and sound. Okay, next is suggestion. The first, for lecturers, the result of this study may be useful for teachers who have not used PowerPoint the presentation to deliver material and inspire lecturers that PowerPoint presentation as a medium in teaching is important for gaining student motivation and learning material. And the second one is for students. Students can use PowerPoint presentation as a medium in learning English to improve their English skills because there are many features in PowerPoint that can be used by students to make them more creative in learning English. And third and last, for further researcher, the researcher obtained data from 10 students for interviews from 10 classes with very little time. It is recommended for future researchers who are interested in discussing research such as this to use more samples and a longer time. The larger the sample size is, the more valuable the researcher will be. This study is also recommended to take samples from other regions. And that is all the presentation of my thesis draft. I apologize if there are mistakes and words that are not pleasing. I end with wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.